All right, hopefully this works this time. We'll see if we can pick up the audio here from Pastor Mike Winger, and I also have a clip from Dr. William Lane Craig talking about God's middle knowledge, also known as Molinism. There is a reason why the Reformed have always rejected this theory, which was invented by the Jesuits in order to maintain their view of human free will in man as the power of contrary choice, or the equal ability to choose between two or more incompatible options under the same circumstances. That's their definition of free will, and it is really the definition that all synergistic groups work with in their working definition of free will in man. And of course, we have pointed out that this is an unbiblical definition of human libertarian free will. The Bible does have a definition, but it's not the power of contrary choice. Jesus didn't possess the power of contrary choice. And the glorified saints at the second advent of Christ, when the saints are glorified, we will not possess the power of contrary choice either. But this idea of middle knowledge in God, really what we're going to hear is that God's knowledge, his free knowledge, his omni-prescience, his knowledge of all things beforehand, is actually, in the Molinistic view, or the view of middle knowledge, is actually dependent upon the creatures and the events that occur in time to give him his knowledge, his exhaustive foreknowledge. We're going to hear a clip from both of these men who will state that explicitly. Let's start with Pastor Mike here.
He knows it because I'm going to do it. So could I have free will? Here's how it would work. Let's say I get home and instead of editing and getting this video online, I decide I don't feel like it, I'm tired. I was at camp all week with teenagers and I just want to sleep. I'm just going to go home and watch The Flash with Allison and then go to sleep. So let's suppose that that's our decision and we do that instead. Now, God will know that instead of the other thing. So if I choose to not edit, the Lord knew I would choose not to edit. And he knew it before I chose it, but he knew it because I chose it. Does that help at all? So God's foreknowledge here is dependent on the choice I make.
Okay, God's knowledge here is dependent upon the choice I make. He knows it because I made this choice. That's how he knows it. So God's knowledge then is dependent upon the creature. In other words, making this video right now, God only knows it because I made the choice to do it. His knowledge is dependent upon me doing something or making a choice. Okay, that's explicitly clear by Pastor Mike, who holds to the Molinistic view, the view of God's middle knowledge. Let's go to William Lane Craig, and he'll say essentially the same thing.
God's knowledge does not determine the event. If we use the language of determine, we would say that the event determines what God foreknows.
So the event determines what God foreknows. In other words, God's omniprescience is dependent upon the events that would occur in time. And those events take place, of course, as a result of people making choices. Okay? Not free will, the power of contrary choice, just simply making choices, choosing stuff. This is the reason why Francis Turretin rejected this view, because his conclusion is that this view makes God's knowledge dependent upon the creation itself. And so God is no longer independent with respect to his foreknowledge. This is a reason why the Reformed have always rejected this view, and why every single Bible-believing Christian should also reject this view. It's an attack on one of the essential attributes of God, namely his omniprescience. There's no other way around it. we need to reject this view. This is a fallacious view that we should all just absolutely repudiate. I hope this is helpful. I hope this has been edifying. Let me know what you think about that. Post your comments down below. We'll talk to you soon. Soli Deo Gloria.